Live on talkSPORT next week, we're going to be bringing you Moses Itauma versus Dillian Whyte, set for an absolute cracking night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Gareth, pleasure, my man. I know we've had a little bit of time away from each other. We've been on various sunbeds around the world, catching a few rays, but it's time to get back to work because there's some serious boxing schedule ahead of us.
Yeah, some great stuff going on, and it's nice to be taking in. We've been in a broom cupboard for about 3.5 months as well, compared to this. So I'm just taking in the new environs, the milieu that we're having in the new studio. It's my first time in the new studio.
Likewise.
It feels really good. Feels like a big show tonight. We've got a massive show in Riyadh. I'm heading out there on Tuesday. Spencer and the boys have already headed over. John Rawling turns up next weekend. And it's going to be a really big event in Riyadh because it's a coming out party for Moses Itauma. I say coming out party. He's got a big test ahead of him. This is the first big test against a world level opponent. He may not be world level anymore, but it's a really fine week that we're looking forward to, and it's a great card.
I think from a fight fan's point of view, the fight next weekend, the main event next weekend, on paper is fantastic matchmaking because you've got an opportunity here for the hottest prospect in the heavyweight division, maybe in the whole of world boxing, to get himself a commercial name on his resume. And you've also got an opportunity for that commercial name, who is a little bit more experienced, we can say that, to derail that hype train and get himself back at the top table. Because with all due respect, since losing to Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte has looked a little bit sluggish. He's looked a little bit slow in his last three. I've seen some fantastic tape of him this week that kind of implies that he's taken this one seriously and got himself in some sensational shape, which he's absolutely going to need. So therefore, on paper, it looks a really interesting matchup, and I'm sure throughout the whole course of the week on talkSPORT, we'll be talking about the the ahs, the zigs and the zags of how this fight might play out. But as I look at it, I see two guys with very varying levels of skill. And I see the younger man having the higher level of skill. The questions that I have isn't whether he will win this fight next weekend. It's at what stage he wins this and what questions he's going to be asked along the way. Because one thing that we can absolutely not doubt in Dillian Whyte is his will to have a fight. Can he drag Moses Itauma into a proper scrap?
Yeah, it's very interesting. All the points you make are very well made, and they are on two escalators going in different directions, and where those escalators meet on the way up and down is the fascinating thing about the entire week. Moses Itauma headlining in an event that's at Riyadh season, that's part of the esports week, that he's going to have to carry things. He looked very good on Hawksby and Jacobs, excuse me, on Thursday. I thought he answered very well. So far, he's looked meticulous in his thinking. I spoke to him with a national newspaper media in a round table for 40 minutes as well, and he feels very strong, he feels very resonant, very resolute that he's up against a guy. We know this anyway, excuse me, that he's taking Dillian Whyte very seriously. He has to. This is the first major name on his resume. The hype train, as you call it, has been big, but it's been fulsome. It's been
worthy.
But it's also garnered from what we all hear behind the scenes about his sparring, about, from 15 years of age, he's been in with the very best, that he can take a lick in sparring, that he's got all the right attitude. Last week, I positioned myself with Moses in terms of saying that I believe he has the right kind of arrogance right now. There's just a slight arrogance about the young man that is absolutely right for where he is. I think he believes that he can go all the way. He wants to be. We've seen already in some interviews where Ben Davison has been very good for him. I think he's with the right team. The Ben Davison Performance Centre in Harlow has the middle, the beginning and the end. It has Anthony Joshua. It has Fabio Wardley. It had Moses Itauma, all different stages, and Jamie TKV as well. It's a really resonant stable with a lot of up-and-coming fighters. I've been there myself, and the atmosphere is... You've been to Ben Davison's Performance Centre in Harlow. It's very strong. The whole thing is about, can Moses Itauma be tested as a headline eventer, a guy that's carrying the card in many ways, and against a guy who is coming to earn $2 million. Yes, he is a kind of sacrificial name in promotionally in some ways. You mentioned commercial fight twice there. It's a big commercial fight. it's a big coming out party for his name, Moses Itauma, because the whole world's going to be watching. I think he can get the job done. I think he wins the fight. I know we're going to go into it in more detail. But if Moses is taken beyond 5-6 rounds, I think it's a 12-rounder. People have been talking about it as a 10-rounder. I think it's a 12-rounder.
I've got it down as a 12, yeah.
Yeah, I've got it down as a 12-rounder. I think on boxrec.com it is a 12-rounder. If Moses is taken beyond 5-6 rounds, we've got a good fight on our hands, and because Moses should be able to land, because Dillian's style and Moses' style, like you say, matchmaking is very good here for Moses Itauma. He's very fast, probably the fastest hands in the heavyweight division right now, so he ought to get the job done.
We'll big up Dillian in a minute, because he is absolutely a lad dog in this fight. But let's hear from Moses, shall we? Because you mentioned a moment or two ago that he was on with H&J this week, and this is what he had to say.
Honestly, I just remember I was sitting in my bedroom, and my manager rang me and he said, "Do you want to fight Dillian Whyte for this amount of money?" And I said, "Yes, let's lock in that date." And I didn't hesitate. I didn't, because it's like, this is what I want. Do you get what I mean? This is why I'm in boxing for. I'm not here to keep obviously like fighting people I won't get no recognition for. And I feel like with Dillian Whyte, a win over him could obviously definitely boost me into something. But I just don't really understand, like, I don't know if it's boxing fans or if it's just people in general. Like when it comes to like my career, yeah, it's like everybody thinks I'm gonna blast Dillian Whyte out the waters, but then no other heavyweight thinks like that. People didn't think Tyson Fury was gonna knock Dillian Whyte out, like blast him out the waters. People don't think Joseph Parker is gonna blast Dillian Whyte out, like what not. But then they think that I will be able to do it. But then I'm not ready for Joseph Parker and Usyk.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm not really worrying about what people are saying. Just doing my job and get paid.
He's absolutely right not to be concerned about. Yeah, it was. He's absolutely right not to be concerned about what other people are saying. And listen, people will have their opinions of how they think this fight is going to play out next weekend. I would not be surprised if that hand speed and his elite talent does blast Dillian Whyte out early. I will also not be surprised if we get to round 6 and and Dillian Whyte's still there, because he's incredibly resilient and he's being asked some different questions. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes the distance. What my take regarding surprise in this fight, it would be if Dillian Whyte was to have his hand raised. However, what I will say on Dillian Whyte's point, if we're going to maybe make a case for him, experience does count in these particular moments. And he has been there, done it, got the T-shirt. Yeah, he's lost some, but he's been in there and he's got some very good signature wins. He obviously overcame the adversity of being knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. The key one is the Joseph Parker fight, because that's probably the most similar I could probably make towards this that he's about to face with Itauma, with Joseph Parker having he's incredibly good feet and incredibly fast hands. And if you remember that fight, Parker was good early doors. He was a lot faster than Dillian Whyte. Dillian stayed in the fight and he outdogged him. He outdogged him down the back end of the fight and got the job done. Maybe that is going to be the tactic that we see on Saturday night.
Look, Moses had 12 fights. He's boxed 25 rounds in the ring. Dillian's 192, nearly 200 rounds, so 8 times his experience. And you can kind of say that. Yeah. You know, I know he's at 37 years young right now, and Moses is still 20, and he's chasing those records of Floyd Patterson and George Foreman and Ali, and obviously he's missed the Mike Tyson youngest heavyweight champion ever, and, you know, obviously Turki Al-Sheikh was trying to push that at one point and get him in the ring with one of the world champions. But I think Dillian's being paid very well for this. Like you say, all the tape, as we call it, all the footage of him, everything online, he looks in phenomenal shape. There's no belly. The legs are big. No. When his legs are big, he always looks good. Buddy McGirt's a great trainer. They will have a game plan. They know that that left hand that Moses is shaping, he's done people with that left hand so far. That, like Alexander Usyk, he creates angles. He's one of the few southpaw heavyweights. Obviously, Zhile Zhang is out there as one as well, and they create different angles, and they will land and they will shock you. But they will work hard on his left hook, on being aggressive, on closing the space, of not trundling around the ring, because he can't afford to do that. But whether Moses allows him to do that, we don't know. I think, like you say, I agree with you. Wouldn't surprise me if Moses hit him hard, fast and early. and got him out of there. Wouldn't surprise me if Dillian Whyte uses his experience to old man him. But I think what he needs to do in fight week, and this is what I'm looking forward to, don't play it down. Don't dumb it down. He dumbed it down against Tyson Fury in the build-up to that fight. Didn't say a lot. Didn't turn up for the press conference. Only did his demanded things on the contract. Remember the absences of Dillian.
You want to see him get into Moses?
I want to see him get stuck into Moses. I want to see him sledge Moses. I want to see him smack talk Moses and say, listen, son, I'm going to bash you around there. I've got a son who's older than you. Dillian's got a son who's 23. I'm going in there to old man you, to beat you up. Get into him a little bit mentally and see what Moses is made of.
It's the biggest fight of my life and career.
Dillian, the body snatcher.
Everyone's saying how great he is. The biggest, hardest fight. The hardest puncher, the quickest puncher, the fastest guy.
Itauma is going looking for another showreel knockout. Moses Itauma could take him out right now.
The strongest guy, the most intelligent, the most patient is boxer.
He's a better mover than Mike Tyson, like a bit more fluid.
Oodles of natural talent.
I even phoned Dylan, like, Dylan, I don't know why you're taking this fight.
2 national titles, 3 European gold medals, and a world title. As a professional, I'm looking to replicate that.
Everyone portray him as a superhuman. That's what I'm approaching the fight. I'm fighting Superman.
Itauma! Oh, that's it!
If he can beat Dillian Whyte, then it's certainly the real deal.
Dillian Whyte is victorious!
This is live on talkSPORT next weekend. It's an action-packed fight as Moses Itauma, the hottest prospect in the heavyweight division, takes on Dillian Whyte in a fight that's taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it's going to be live for you on the talkSPORT network. We'll have a watch-along on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, and you can listen along to commentary with the dulcet tones of John Rollins, Spencer Oliver, and this man to my left-hand side, Mr. Gareth Davies, out in Saudi. And I know that you're excited about getting out there. We spoke about this extensively at the start of the show. We've kind of picked the bones out the fight and how we think it might play out and what it means for both men. But this week, we kind of need it to be ramped up a touch, don't we? Because there could be a bit of a coming-of-age moment on Saturday night, but there also could be a moment where a man with an extreme amount of experience just shows the new dog that he's still got a few tricks up his sleeve.
The thing is about Dillian Whyte, and I've had the privilege and the pleasure of going very deep with him in interviews about his life, about being stabbed and shot and losing his father and the violence that he's grown up with around him and the transformation that's gone on in his life, and being a father at 13 and all of these guys. He's got a son in his 20s and he's only 37. He's an extraordinary man, Dillian Whyte, and he feels blessed to have survived and be alive. And he is a survivor. And for that very reason, there's a dog in him. He's a proud British Jamaican as well. He's a very big man. He's a big puncher. So all the people saying that Moses can wipe him out, that he'll use all that. The talk will grow, I think, through the week when we're around Dillian, if he's looking really fresh and fit and feeling confident, that let's not write this big man off. Big, bold, beautiful as he is. And I think my instinct is that we will start to talk him up a little bit more as the week goes on.
I think so. I think he's got that type of personality.
Yeah.
And I think once people see the shape that he's got himself in, because, well, let's be honest, you can only go off the last few performances. The last 3, since losing to Tyson Fury, have been flat and they've been slow. And a lot of that has come down to maybe the level of opponent that he's fighting, whether he's been motivated for it, and whether he's been in shape. You can't say that from what I've seen so far coming into this. He looks like he's bang up for it. You'll get a bit more of a better picture throughout the course of the week. He needs all those things. He needs to be bang up for it. He needs to be in great shape. He needs to kind of roll back the years. He needs to give the performance that he gave against Joseph Parker. That's what he needs to do in order to have a chance of beating Moses.
You said it there, roll back the years. And when you roll back the years, if you go backwards... Jermaine Franklin gave Anthony Joshua problems as well, so I'm going to ignore that. He still won a majority decision against Jermaine Franklin. The rematch against Alexander Povetkin, in which he knocked Povetkin out.
That's where he's got to go.
The victory over a very good Oscar Rivas, by the way, very very underrated fighter, Rivas. The victories over Joseph Parker and Derek Chisora, the knockout of Lucas Brown. We are talking 2018, 19, 20 there. Roll back the years, Dillian. Go and believe in yourself, because if you do beat Moses Itauma, you've really upset heavyweight boxing.
Yeah.
You've upset what people think is the script. You've beaten the number one WBO. Whether he deserves to be number one WBO is questionable, but you've beaten the guy, and you will get a very, very big fight afterwards. If not, a rematch with Moses Itauma, which is what will happen.
But from a Moses point of view, it's a wonderful opportunity to get a commercial name on that resume of his.
Why a commercial name?
Because I think he's crossed over a little bit, Dillian, especially with his fights with Anthony Joshua. I think he does resonate with the football fan as well as the boxing fan. When I say commercial, I mean mainstream.
Yeah.
Someone that's come away from the hardcore.
Okay.
He touches upon the casual as well. So I think that's a good thing from a Moses Itauma point of view. If you can get that victory next weekend, I think that then obviously pushes him forward towards the likes of the Caballeros and Parkers and stuff like that. Not Usyk yet. I said this at the start of the show. Not the Usyk yet.
Joseph Parker next.
Okay.
Joseph Parker next. Alexander Usyk next year, if they can get Usyk in a ring with him.
Which of the fights on the undercard is jumping off that page for you? Which one are you most interested by?
Well, hearing Josh Kelly with us earlier about how well David Adelaide's looked in training, and Adam Booth, the Dark Lord in the corner with him, I'm looking forward to Adelaide letting his hands go. Nick Ball against Sam Goodman. Ball's got to be on form in that featherweight WBA title. He's got to be on form against Goodman. Mustn't let Goodman into the fight. Really looking forward to that. I mean, there's only, 5 fights? So, pick the best of the rest. Ray Ford and Hayato Tatsumi versus Kei Ashfaq. They're all great fights. It's going to be a big, fast, exciting night.
If Nick Ball switched on, he'll come through some.
Yeah, I agree.
On the horizon, he's got a big fight. So fingers crossed he's switched on doing Nick Ball stuff, because he's super exciting to watch. I agree with what you're saying. I am gobsmacked at the matchmaking of Filip Ergovic and David Adelaide.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Fun fight.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity for Adelaide.
It is.
He was fighting for a British title. There was controversial ending. It was rebooked, and then all of a sudden he's now fighting at world level against Filip Ergovic. If he comes through that, he can kiss domestic level goodbye. He's eating at the very, very top table in his next fight. From Hergovic's point of view, he can't afford to lose that. He has to win, and he's got a winning style.
Wants the boogeyman of the division.
Yeah, well, he won't be next week if David Adelaide sparks him, will he? Anyway, that's all coming up next week. Thank you very much for tuning in to us. We will catch you next time.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.